to the tip of the week. So we're going to take a look at Autofill. We're also going to take a look at some of the features in Paste Special. So with Autofill, you're probably used to seeing you have a calculation field or a number sequence that you want to copy down, and you go to the bottom right corner, your cursor turns to the cross, you can click it and drag down. What you may not know is that instead of doing that, if you go to the bottom right corner and double click, it will perform the same option. So it could be useful if you have thousands of rows and copying down is just very tedious and time consuming. You also notice that whether you click and drag or copy down, the little autofill options box comes up, so you do have a couple options when you're doing this that you can fill with the formatting only or fill without formatting. So if you've never noticed that box before, that's what it does. Now it does have the same limitation as the selection. So if I was to copy this down, notice I have a blank here, and you'd see that, whoops, there's a blank, so it's not going to let me go past that. So in this case I would have to click down one more to get past the blank and then get back into the sequence. Now let's take a look at Paste Special. So Paste Special has a lot of cool functions that you could do with it. So let's say I want to take this row and I want this row to now be a column. Rather than have to go type it all back out again, I could simply copy, and I can use Paste Special. Let's take a look at some of these values. So I can do all, so that's the normal paste that you're used to. I could do formulas, so just the formulas. I could do just values. So if I have a bunch of formulas and I just want the number to come over, very useful. I can do formats, so if I just want only to copy the formatting information. Comments, so if I have comments on a bunch of cells and I want to bring those over, but I don't want the data. Validation, bring my validation over, and all of these different options that you have. And you also have operations, so you can perform math on what you've pasted over. And then you have these little checkboxes down here which allow you to do some really cool things too. So the one I'm going to show you now is transpose. So we're going to click that, and when I click OK, you'll see that the row has now become a column. So let's use that same function, but we're going to explain here. And that is, we're going to copy this as an illustration, and we're going to bring it over. And instead of having a blank here, we're going to put in 10. Okay? So when we look at this, we see that this still has a blank, but let's say somebody filled in some new values. So let's say there was 20 here, and there was 30 and 10, and this person maybe went to 55, and this person now is at 10, and this person now is at this. So I want to copy this data over, but we see that there's a blank here. So what I can do is, because I don't want this, which is what happens if I normally paste, I don't want this to happen. Instead, I can use Paste Special. And I want to do skip blank. So anywhere where there's a blank and I have a value for data, I don't want Excel to overwrite it. So if I click skip blanks, now you can see that I've retained my data there in that cell. So it could be very useful for data entry when someone's updating something and you're pulling in the values. You just want the things that they're not overwriting to being a blank value. Alright, then one of the other items that we'll show here real quick is, I'm going to copy this, and we're going to show an operation. So there's a 1 and a 2 here. So what this is telling me is for this Brenda, I want to do something with the number 1 and something with the number 2 to these values. So when I do paste special, and let's say I want to multiply, so I want to multiply the first value by 1 and the second value by 2. And now 10 and 20, so multiply it by 1 and multiply it by 2. And the final thing that I'll show you is the formatting. So I get this back and I see, whoa, they really messed that up. So rather than have to go back and change all this, I'm going to do copy and paste special, and I want just the format. So we could bring that down without having to go and change each one of those individual features. It's going to match this formatting from these cells right to here. Thanks for watching today. The next week we're going to take a look at some of the function that I think people find very useful, which is the VLOOKUP and its partner in crime HLOOKUP. Hope you'll join us then.